right, so we're diving deep today into something pretty interesting. It's all about a bit of a stir in a school community and a new rule that came in a 50 community membership limit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it kind of set things off a little bit. And what we have is, like a front row seat to the whole thing. Raw user posts and comments straight from the platform.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. So
Yeah.
in this deep dive, we're going to really try to understand how the users reacted, why the platform decided to do this, and see where it all went.
I'm intrigued already.
Yeah, and it's a really cool way to see the behind the scenes of how these platforms are managed and the dynamics of online communities.
Yeah, it's like a case study in real time.
Exactly.
Inside, we're so glad you're here. Come on inside to Inside School.
Yeah. So the initial reaction, let's just say it wasn't exactly a warm welcome.
Okay.
The person who started the whole conversation basically said, look, I don't like this 50 community cap.
Right.
And they really wanted to support new community owners.
Right.
And the whole online vibe went kind of like wishfire emojis everywhere, which, basically means we disagree. And then there were some pretty direct comments like, not a fan, gross AF, even disgusted, like it was intense.
Wow. So they didn't hold back.
No, they did not. And what's interesting is it wasn't just like change is bad kind of thing.
Yeah.
They immediately saw how this would affect what they do on Skool.
Right. So it wasn't just about the change itself. It was about the implications.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder about how the platform and its most active users, how they relate to each other.
Yeah, that pushback is interesting. What do you think it says about their relationship?
I think it shows that these users, they're really invested. They're not just casually browsing. They're actively participating and contributing, and they feel like this rule is kind of stepping on their toes.
Yeah, like it's limiting their agency within the platform.
And some users really spelled out why they were upset.
Okay.
So there's Sarah Hankins, and she had this great analogy. She's like, this is like a principal making decisions for students and stopping them from supporting other communities and being part of fun groups.
Oh, I like that analogy.
It's really vivid, right? It's like this top-down decision without considering what users actually do on the platform.
Makes you think of those times when platforms make changes and it backfires spectacularly. Have you seen any examples of that?
Oh, yeah. Tons of times.
Yeah.
User backlash can be a huge deal. Platforms have had to reverse decisions or even lose users to competitors because they didn't listen.
Right. It's a reminder that users have power, too.
Absolutely. And then there's Faith Adebayo. She brought up a practical problem. She already needs a separate account to see things from a member's perspective versus an admin's.
Oh, right. Because she's managing communities.
Exactly. And now this limit could force her to juggle even more accounts just to stay involved.
That sounds really inconvenient.
Yeah, imagine having to switch between accounts all the time just to participate.
Not very user-friendly.
Nope. And then Griffin A. Hamilton jumped in. He talked about how hard it is to connect with active users when you're limited. He made a really important point for people whose work involves supporting other communities. Going over 50 memberships is actually essential.
Right. It's not just a casual thing for them. It's part of their job.
Exactly. So we're not talking about joining random groups for fun. This is professional engagement.
So potentially impacting their livelihood.
Exactly. And you mentioned power users earlier. What happens when a platform alienates those power users? What are the consequences?
Well, think about it. Power users are often the ones who are really active. They're the early adopters. They spread the word. They help new users. They're kind of the backbone of the community.
Right. They're the ones who really make it thrive.
Exactly. If you make it harder for them to do what they do, you risk losing them. They might get frustrated. They might go somewhere else. And that can have a ripple effect on the whole platform.
Yeah, the whole community could suffer.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've heard from the users. Now let's see what the platform has to say.
Okay.
So Andrew Kirby, he explained the reasoning behind the limit, and it was all about reducing overwhelm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, he said he'd joined a ton of communities himself and felt like he couldn't really participate anywhere.
I can relate to that feeling.
Right, so the idea was to encourage people to be more present in fewer groups,
Yeah.
less stress, less overwhelm.
So focusing on quality over quantity of engagement.
Exactly. And he also mentioned that only a tiny percentage of Skool's millions of users are actually in more than 50 groups.
So they were thinking about the majority experience.
Yeah. It's a classic problem for online platforms. How do you keep things engaging without overwhelming people with too much stuff? What do you think about that justification?
Well, I can see where they're coming from. It's a tough balance, right? You want to offer variety, but you don't want people to drown in information.
Right, and it seems like they were trying to avoid that information overload.
And looking at the numbers, it makes sense that they focused on the majority of users.
But that's where things got interesting, because the counter-arguments started rolling in.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, Jenna Austria was like, hold on a sec. The limits might not feel good at first, but this isn't just about that. This is about restricting what people need and want to do.
Okay, so she's saying it's a functional limitation, not just a matter of preference.
Exactly. It's not just about being comfortable. It's about being able to use the platform the way they need to.
I see. So there's a disconnect between how the platform thinks people use it and how they actually use it.
Right, and that's a crucial point.
It is. You can't assume you know what's best for your users without really understanding their needs.
Absolutely. And then more concerns popped up. People pointed out that admins can't leave communities, so what happens if they hit that 50 group limit?
Oh, yeah, that's a problem.
Right. Sarah Hankins had a suggestion, though. She thought instead of limiting memberships, they should just improve the notification system.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Give people more control over the information they see.
Right. Instead of a hard limit, give them better tools to manage things.
Much more user-friendly.
Totally. And Art Nazgari brought up fun communities and the value of just lurking. Not posting, but still enjoying the community.
Right. Some people just like to observe and absorb.
And Patrice Simoneau was like, why should I have to leave archived communities? They have valuable info I might want to look at again.
Yeah, those archives can be a treasure trove.
Right. So it's not all about active engagement all the time. There are other ways people get value.
It's about the long-term value of being part of a community.
Exactly. And Sarah Hankins also pointed out that the timing of this announcement was kind of weird. It came right after a super lighthearted Skool news call.
Oh, so it felt jarring.
Yeah, almost like sneaky Diana Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Then wondered if the limit applied to paid communities and suggested maybe warnings about overwhelm would be better.
Interesting. So a gentler approach instead of a hard stop.
Right. And Faith Adebayo went even further. She said feeling overwhelmed is a personal problem, not something the platform needs to solve.
I can see your point.
Right. And then Jamie Chadburn proposed a system where more active users could join more communities.
That makes sense. You reward engagement and participation.
And it addresses the needs of those power users we talked about.
Exactly, a more nuanced approach that recognizes different levels of engagement.
Okay, so now the conversation shifts to the impact on specific types of users. Patrice Simoneau and Ryan Duncan both said this limit would really hurt people who support new creators or do affiliate marketing.
Right, because they often need to be in lots of communities.
And Idris Tucker asked a really sharp question. Who is this limit protecting if it only affects a small percentage of super active users who are actually making a living on the platform?
Yeah, it almost seems counterproductive to limit the people who are contributing the most.
Right, like you're punishing your most valuable users.
It raises questions about who the platform is prioritizing.
And the main issue kept coming back, having to leave existing communities to join new ones. Maybe the new ones aren't even as good.
Right, you're forced to make choices and potentially lose valuable connections.
Someone even compared it to limiting YouTube subscriptions or Facebook friends. It just seems so arbitrary.
Yeah, most platforms don't limit your connections like that.
So in the middle of all this, the community started brainstorming solutions.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they really wanted to find a way to make things work. They talked about improving the notification system, letting admins leave their own communities, making admin roles not count towards the limit. Jamie Chadburn's tiered system came up again, and they even discussed separating core spaces from general communities.
Wow, so much creative problem solving.
It's really inspiring to see them working together to improve the platform.
Yeah, it shows a real sense of ownership and investment.
Totally.
So what happened next? Did Skool listen?
Okay, get this.
Yeah.
After all that feedback, Andrew Kirby came back and said, "We hear you. We're removing the 50 group limit."
Wow, so they actually listened.
Yeah, and he even mentioned how they'd improve the affiliate feature based on user input.
So they have a history of responding to feedback.
It seems like it. And Griffin A. Hamilton confirmed the limit was gone. People could join new communities again.
That's a pretty quick turnaround.
Right. It shows they were paying attention.
It's encouraging to see a platform that's willing to adapt.
So for everyone listening, let's recap what we learned from this whole saga. We saw a huge pushback from users against this 50 community limit. And it wasn't just about disliking change. It was about real concerns about their ability to support others, to network effectively, and to use the platform in a way that works for them.
It really highlights the importance of understanding how your users actually interact with the platform, not just how you think they do.
And it shows the power of community feedback.
Absolutely. Schools listen to their users, especially when the change was seen as really harmful.
And it reminds us that platforms and users are always in this dance of negotiation and adaptation.
Trying to find that sweet spot where everyone's needs are met.
So here's a final thought for you. Think about the balancing act that platforms have to do. How do you manage the experience for the majority while also making space for the unique needs of your most active and invested members?
Especially when those power users are often the ones driving the most value.
Exactly. What are the long-term effects of these kinds of decisions on the community's growth, on user satisfaction, and ultimately on the platform's value? It's something to consider as you participate in your own online communities and watch how things evolve.
Food for thought.
Definitely.
Thanks for taking us on this deep dive. It was fascinating.
My pleasure. It's always great to unpack these complex issues with you.
Until next time.
See you then.
Inside school.